So the first in this line today in the second session is Anshu Pandey. Anshu Pandey is head of technologies and is also co-founder of Blue Data Consulting and IT Services Private Limited. Anshu has worked on multiple technologies, including AI, automation, and data projects, so on and so forth. And he has so many different clients in the various sectors like telecom, banking, finance, defense, etc. He has helped enterprises in project architecture, managing, mentoring, and monitoring of analytics and automation projects. So definitely his experience with analytics and AI for his clients is going to help us also understand how AI and analytics can be leveraged for our businesses. So today in this particular session, he is going to focus on various aspects like understanding of AI, that is artificial intelligence, and analytics. He is also going to deep dive into how we should go about adapting the AI and analytics in the organization or implementation of AI-based processes. He will be also looking for how we can re-engineer our processes so that artificial intelligence and analytics can be integrated into it, and also using smart documentation and other developing other presentations. He is also going to look into the things like how we can use AI for the customers and developing customer-centric solutions for end users as well as our business. So with that introduction of the session and that introduction of Anshu, I would like to invite Anshu to take over the control of this session and start with his presentation. Good morning, Anshu, and thanks for your time. Please take the control.
Thank you, Tejesh. All right, everyone. So a very good morning and welcome you all to the session today. I hope I'm audible and my screen is also visible to all.
Yeah, you are audible and your screen is visible to us.
Great. So a very good morning and welcome again. Thank you, Tejesh, for introducing me and the agenda for this session. So yes, everyone, this is going to be around talking about a bit of analytics and AI for your business. How if you are the business owner or if you are at a position where you hold the ownership or responsibility to integrate technology within your business, then this session is for you. If you are somebody who is already into analytics and AI and is looking to sort of grow further into that domain, a bit of information you can get that for that as well from here. So let's get started. I think we are good with that, and let's go ahead with it. All right. So, well, what I do is, as Tejesh has already explained, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that part. I am a co-founder and head of technology at Blue Data Consulting. I lead most of the technological stuff over here, which include analytics and AI and data projects, starting from architecture to validation to technology selection. We have in my individual capacity, I have worked with a lot of clients like JP Morgan, McKinsey as a consultant, BNP Paribas, Ericsson, and I have been serving as more of a technology advisor to many of the startups as well within India and Southeast Asia. That's my a bit of understanding about what I do, right? And what we can talk about here is going to be more around first section. We're gonna spend on understanding what is AI in analytics. Second, we're gonna talk about what should be your path to start with AI in analytics and how do you integrate that culture within the business. And third, how the standard journey of an enterprise goes in when it comes to adapting analytics and AI within the enterprise. And fourth section, we can talk about Ask Me Anything section, where you are free to ask any questions about analytics, AI, technology, business, and I'll try my best capacity to answer those. And within these, we'll also get to talk about applications of how AI has been helping businesses to improve their business process or customers' convenience and experience as well. At any point you feel that I'm going a little quick, you want me to slow down. Sometimes I get excited with a lot of good audience, and if in case you feel that I'm going fast and you want me to slow down, feel free with that. Feel free to ask questions, interrupt me at any point. It would be great if we can have an interactive session. So that's going to be a bit of benefit as well of having a bit of small audience, but then more likely people will join us moving forward. So, well, let's get started. I'll start with few of the terms that you might already know. One thing that I'm going to start with is the understanding to what is data. Well, I think this is not something very new. So in one liner, it's anything that carries information is data, right? So today in the digital world, we as a consumer interact with multiple digital platforms, whether it comes to shopping, to accessing many of the services, even gathering information. We use our smartphones more than 30 to 40% of our daytime of 24 hours, right? And that's how almost at every instance of that we can generate data. Even at times when we are not using a smartphone, we are generating data via Google Maps or some telemetry data to our service providers as well. So data is anything that carries information. It could be in the form of Excel sheet, CSV files, SQL database tables. It could be in the form of tweets on Twitter. Let's say videos on YouTube is data. Information about all the participants over here is also data, right? It can be in broadly multiple forms, but yeah, broadly you can say categorize it into structured and unstructured data. An example of structured data could be, let's say, here it's the data of a bank. So this is a banking data, which is data of around, let's say, certain 1,000 customers. For each customer, you have sort of credit score, geography, gender. So this is tabular data. This is example of structured data. And example of unstructured data could be where, let's say, you have some sort of data where you have images, audio files, video files. That's sort of use case, or you can say example of unstructured data. So majority of the technologies today drive on the top of data, right? And the two technologies that we're going to discuss and is our focus in the day, analytics and AI, both depend on data quite a lot. Right. So here we go, and let's move forward. So this was a slide which I wanted to talk about a bit of understanding to what is data and structured and unstructured, right? So the first section is going to be a bit of informative section. Second section is going to be more of strategic section, right? So this is where my goal is to just bring all of us on same level within understanding to what is data, what is analytics, what is AI, right? And second section will definitely talk about strategy in terms of how do we start with it, or how do we do it actually. Okay, so next question we can talk about is, what is AI? Well, this is interesting. So AI in general can be sort of as a way of making machines or computers act intelligent, or you can say copy or imitate the intelligent human behavior in some capacity, right? For example, let's say we humans can do many of the tasks quite effectively. We can drive car, we can ride bike, we can speak in multiple languages, we can recognize our friends and family members based on their facial patterns. We can read handwriting. We can even read handwriting of those people we haven't ever met in our life. These are different intelligent capabilities that we humans have, right? And building similar capabilities in machines and computers is what we call as AI, right? So you kind of build similar capacity or capability in machines. For example, let's say making a software speak in multiple languages, that's AI. Or you can say communicate in multiple languages, that's AI. I'm a little bad with my handwriting, right? But yeah, that's an example of it. Similar way, the way we humans can drive car, ride bike, you make a computer do that. You make a computer being able to ride bike, or a computer being able to drive a car, that's AI. the way we humans can recognize our friends and family members looking at their facial expressions or facial shapes, right? Although every human has two eyes, one lip, mouth, and one nose, and two ears, though we are able to differentiate between all of them quite effectively. That's an intelligent capability that we have, and enabling similar intelligent capability in machines or computers is what we can, call it as AI. Right. If I so how do we do this, right? So this is more of a philosophical definition, I would say, or a bit of theoretical definition. If I have to, if you ask me how do you do this, well, so technologically, if I have to define what is AI, it would be more of a collection of algorithms, right? So technically, you can say AI is more like collection of algorithms. For example, let's say, we'll come back to this slide a little later. So yeah, let's say we have to develop an AI solution. Primarily, you can say we would want to make your a car possibly an AI-enabled car, or you would want to possibly integrate AI with any existing product, which could be your existing machinery, possibly, or any electronic or non-electronic product that you produce. Possibly, you would want to integrate AI with any kiosk that you use within the business, or any smartphone app that you have for your business, or you would want to integrate AI with any web app that you have for your business. Maybe a very simple thing can be, I would want to integrate AI with doorbell. So the idea is, with any of these systems, they consume software in some capacity. If not, like doorbell doesn't consume a software, so you can integrate a computing agent with it. Right. So what we do is we primarily sort of add intelligence with these systems in the software capacity, and that's how we may develop AI-enabled solution. For example, intelligence integrated with car can help us out develop AI-enabled car, right? Intelligence integrated with, let's say, smartphone app, it could make an AI app, like the way the simple pattern-based smartphone unlocking system got improved or updated to a bit of a face app. That's an AI solution, right? So that's what generic idea about it, right? So the idea is simply you add or integrate intelligence with machines or computers, and that's how you develop an AI-enabled solution. Right. Now, the question could be possibly, how do I do this, right? So how do I add intelligence in machines and computers? Well, a solution could be, or maybe an answer could be, AI technically is a collection of algorithms. So as we discussed, technically you can think of AI as collection of algorithms, right? And when I have to make something, let's say I have to develop a face recognition system. So what I would do is primarily, I'll go ahead and simply pick one of these algorithm, pick an algorithm, code it with any language, let's say Python, or any programming language, or known programming tools are also available these days quite a lot. And so let's say Python, and you use Python to program, you use Python to sort of develop an AI-enabled solution, right? So pick an algorithm, program it with Python, train it, and that's how you develop intelligence, which you can integrate it to machines and computers. So this is how technologically an AI solution is developed, right? So philosophically, you can think of it as like, in some capacity, you make machines or computers act like humans, right? Or behave like humans, or imitate human intelligence. And technologically, you can think of it as a way of making computers. Sorry, technologically, you can think of it as more like a collection of algorithms. You pick one and program it with some tool, and that's how you add intelligence. Right, that was it. Now, this way, we have seen today, there are many of the AI products. In fact, we use many of the AI solutions in our everyday life, right? So if you talk about Google, every day we may end up using Google search engine. So when you use Google search engine, it uses quite a lot of AI for content identification, identifying right relevant content, image collection, image captioning, finding out relevance of image to your search keyword, it uses a lot of AI algorithms. And that Google search is a very generic thing which has become part of our everyday life, right? Almost every day we use it. Or another example could be Google Maps, right? So let's say if you're new to a city, you cannot imagine commuting without Google Maps, right? So when you go to any new city, you need to kind of know ways and paths, and you search shops and you commute there, or you locate that with the help of Google Maps. Language translation, Google Translate, this is also an AI solution that I use sometimes, which is generating the caption here, as you can see on the bottom section. That's an AI solution by Microsoft, and it helps me sometimes to communicate with my clients. So the lower level stakeholders may not, sometimes they don't have good understanding to English. So while communicating to them, this helps quite a lot. While talking to people from Southeast Asia, a bit Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia, so they want to kind of have a little bit of local language to be used to understand, and this subtitle helps quite a lot. So this is how, in some ways AI has become more of a part of our everyday life, and it has added a lot of convenience to our everyday stuff that we do. And that has, on the other hand, if you look at the organizations which have been providing these solutions, like Google, Facebook, you think of, or Microsoft, you think of. So these companies have grown quite a lot in terms of their user base, in terms of the geographical expansion, in terms of the revenue, in all of those sorts. These organizations have been able to grow quite faster compared to non-digital companies or non-internet-based companies, other internet-based companies, because they have integrated AI as almost every part of their system or business process. And this has also given a little bit of visibility in the market that, well, AI has, or analytics has already proved its significance in the market. So there are a lot of people who have already grown significantly and attained a significant amount of growth as well with the help of analytics and AI, right? And yep, so that has enabled, or you can say that has attracted a lot of small level companies to mid-level companies towards adapting analytics and AI within their business. So, well, this was it, right? This was a little idea to understanding AI in general. If I have to give you a little example, I hope we are there, right? Are we all good? Right, I hope we are all connected and good with a bit of theoretical understanding to AI. Well, I wanted to also take you through a bit of example, I would say, right? So if I have to share an example of what AI, or maybe how AI looks like, let's say, or how do you do that? So let me take you through maybe one of the use case here. Right. So here I'm going to take you through a use case where we kind of try out developing an AI solution on the go, right? So let's say if I want to develop an AI solution to which I want to teach how two objects look like, right? Let's say I want to teach an AI solution, maybe how possibly a book, right? Let's say how a book looks like versus maybe how a water bottle looks like, right? There's not a water bottle, although let's say a bottle looks like. So we want to teach an AI solution, well, how do these two objects look like? So let's do that here, and this is going to help you out a bit to understand the idea of how to develop such solutions, or maybe how such solutions actually work. Not to develop, but yep, the understanding of working idea of these, right? So yep, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tag called bottle, and the other tag called, let's say, a notebook, right? So in order to develop any intelligent solution, in majority of the cases within AI, you need data. Not in all the cases, but in majority of the cases, you need data. So what we need here is we need data of a lot of you can say bottles and possibly notebooks, And once we have that data available, we can feed it to an algorithm. It can learn from that data and start doing the job. So let's collect data, right? So I want to collect data here. So I'm going to go a little side over here, and so you want to collect pictures of water bottle, and so I'm going to start my camera here instead of there. So here you go, and you can see that here we have pictures of water bottle, not water bottle, but a generic bottle, right? Although this is freshener. So I'm going to take a picture over here. Let's say this way, right? This picture. Now, usually when you collect data, so you see this is where we are collecting data for an AI solution. So usually when you collect data, you would want to ensure that there is significant amount of diversity in your data. For example, if I collect all the pictures with this orientation, this standing orientation of this object, my AI algorithm would possibly learn that always bottle looks like this. And if I show a bottle like this, it may not be able to identify it. So it's important that your data has significant amount of diversity. So you need to have pictures close to camera, far away from camera, in different orientation as well, right? More like this. Right, and let's say we have got now around 100 pictures of a bottle, and quite a similar way we would want to get 100 pictures of a book as well. Sorry, notebook as well. So let me do that. Here we go. And so we got 100 pictures of notebook, right? Now you might say that, well, in this picture there is a bottle, but then more than a bottle, there is a hand and the human as well, right? So a part of my body is visible in this picture, right? In many of such pictures you can see, right? So at the moment we're telling the model how a bottle looks like, we also need to tell the AI solution how a bottle does not look like, right? So possibly you may want to also add negative example just to tell your AI solution that when not to identify or not to call it a bottle or a notebook. So I'm going to create one more additional class here, or a category here, called background. And that's where we're going to sort of take some pictures of background, right? Some pictures where there's human face, or there's a bit of human face, right? Or there's no human face, there's hand, right? Hand in the close area, in the far away area, and pictures of category. So the first thing that you need is, although this is one of the part of AI, what you're doing is one of the section of AI called machine learning. At the moment, we won't be able to dive deeper into what is machine learning, or so yep, this is actually machine learning, and everything is machine learning, and is again a set of algorithms which need data, right? So within AI, you have sort of two categories of algorithms, you can say. One which perform sort of learning from random data or from rules, the other which perform learning from data, and the one which perform learning from data are called as also ML or machine learning algorithms, right? So that is one thing. Here we go, and now we have data of around 300 pictures of bottle, notebook in background. Let's go ahead and train a model. So when you say model, what is it? It means an AI algorithm is picked here. In this case, it's a neural network. It's going to be trained, and so each AI algorithm in practice has a lot of hyperparameters via which it can be customized, it can be tuned to get good performance for a certain job. If you ever see a poor algorithm, or maybe an AI solution which is giving you bad results, that means either the quality of data is bad, or the AI solution or algorithm was not properly tuned. So now we have got the trained model. So here you can see that this is trained model, right? And with the help of this trained model, it's able to sort of make predictions. So you can see current with this image, it predicts that this is background. It's 100% sure that this is background. Now, if I show an object of, let's say, a bottle, so it's like 100% sure that this is a bottle, right? So it's able to say that this is a bottle, right? If I show another object, let's say this one, so it's able to say that this looks like a book. This looks like a book. right? So it's great, right? It's working good. Now, usually AI solutions are not limited to specific scenarios. For example, if you train it on certain bottle, it is not something it's going to be able to identify only that bottle. So even if I show any other bottle, typically it should be able to identify this as a bottle. So what it learns, so you can say AI solutions do not memorize data, they learn pattern, and they use those patterns, they store those patterns in the form of some mathematical equations and use those patterns to make predictions, right? So as this is also having the same shape as that of training data, you can see it's able to identify this as a bottle quite effectively, right? So that's an idea. That's an idea about how exactly AI solutions work and the understanding to AI in general. I hope this makes sense, everyone. All right, are we good with this?
Yes, Anshu.
Great, that was good. Great, thank you for the confirmation. I hope this makes sense, right? And great, thank you for the response as well. Great, right? So let's move forward. Now, the second thing that I'm going to talk about is to understand what is analytics, right? Now, here I have a picture of a burger shop, but yep, in context to that, I'm going to help you understand what is analytics in general, right? So analytics is something, quite heavily driven by statistics and data visualization. And in majority of the cases, we prefer using structured data, right? As we discussed, structured versus unstructured data. In majority of the cases, not in all the cases. Well, so let me help you understand what is analytics in general, right? And there are a lot of other terms associated like business intelligence, possibly predictive analytics, exploratory analytics, root cause analytics, prescriptive analytics. We'll get to talk about a bit of them as well moving forward. At the moment, we're going to understand analytics more in the form of very fundamental level, more in the form of very fundamental level, like at a descriptive analytics level, you can say. So, well, to understand this, let's take an example. So let's say here, what I do is, I'm opening a burger shop in Surat, right? So let's say I'm opening a burger shop in Surat, which I'm not doing, right? So let's say if I open a burger shop in Surat, and what I do is I start selling burgers, right? I start selling burgers, and every day in a register and a notebook, I kind of keep noting down. So day one, I sold around 32 burgers. Day two, 32 burgers. Day three, 30 burgers. Day four, 34 burgers, and likewise, I have collected information. Now, whatever data that I had, what I did is at the end of the day, at the end of month, right? So first thing that I had is data, and at the end of month, I applied some statistics on data, right? Now, what the statistic says is, that, well, I calculated number of average sales that I made on each Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it turned out that on each Monday, I sold on an average 35 burgers, 34 burgers, 36 burgers. Thursday, 35 burgers. Friday, 36 burgers. And Saturday, 59 burgers, and Sunday, 59 burgers. So if I ask you, what is that pattern that you see here? Do you see any pattern, or do you see any insight can you extract out of this data or the statistics? So you might say that, well, it looks like this is where you're selling quite a lot of burgers on the weekends, so you're making high sales on weekends and low sales on weekdays, right? So the insight is that high sales on weekends and low on weekdays. That's one of the insight that I get out of applying statistics. Now let's say that so the idea of analytics is more like you apply statistics and visualization on data, and that's how you get insights from it. That's one component of it, although there's a lot more other than this through in analytics. But yep, this is one of the important component. And how this can help me as a business owner of a burger shop. So for example, if I have to take multiple decisions, when to hire additional workers for help, when to hire additional workers for help, right? So the answer, you might say, that would be possibly you should be doing that. You should be doing that on weekends. As you're making high sales on weekends, you would need some help, right? Second question, if I have to when to close the shop, to go and buy raw material, right? So you might say that possibly you would want to take that action of closing the shop and going out and buying raw material on some weekdays, not on weekends. For sure, as you're making low sales on weekdays, it would be lesser loss, right? So what is happening here is data collected, statistics applied, insights identified or gained is helping in driving some of the business decisions more intelligently, right? So analytics is more around you collect data from business, apply statistics or visualization on that, and get those insights which can help you drive your decision, right? Which can support your decisions on certain statistical grounds, right? So analytics is more around that. And this becomes quite helpful when you're taking decisions which can have high value repercussions if went wrong. So analytics in majority of the cases can support your decisions or can challenge your decisions if those are likely to go wrong. Right. So that's the generic idea of what analytics is. I hope this makes sense and helps you understand the logical part of what is AI in analytics at this stage. Right. So this is where we're done with the first section, which was more like information section. And now we'll move to strategy section. All right. So this was informative section, get to understand what it is, what is AI and what is analytics, right? Next, now we're going to take a step ahead to move towards strategy section, wherein we're going to talk about how we go about doing that. Right. So first thing, we're going to start with the idea to understanding how a business should start consuming AI and analytics. Now, this is one of the very crucial stage, and space where many of the business are now quite a lot concerned. A lot of businesses at mid-level to high level have invested quite a lot in this area just to expecting high returns out of it, and numerous businesses as well has have gone into a bit of losses as well, right, where they have invested incorrectly or those investments haven't helped them to get heavy returns immediately, right? So this is one of the space where if you ask me, majority of the mid-size to high big size businesses, they are now very much very much concerned about the steps that they want to take into this space. And some of the businesses have adapted an approach of making heavy investments, which is again incorrect. So in next couple of slides, what I'm going to help you with is a bit of strategic approach in terms of what should be a right approach. And this strategic approach again comes from a lot of my experience and the way I have contributed to a few of the big to small organizations. And then additionally, it comes from my readings as well. I have been spending quite a lot of time connecting to leaders in the business and reading books as well. So it comes from a lot of those mixed sources, I would say. Right. So here we go. Right. So books and personal experience shared by others as well are a few of the things which are going to help you out with what's next coming up. So well, what makes an organization as an AI organization? So first thing that makes an organization as an AI company is that if you are having a very strategic approach towards AI adoption, data collection, and data analysis. Right, strategic approach in the sense it's a lot of organizations think that, well, we should start doing what others are doing, right? If others have chatbot, let's also buy a chatbot. Rather, which is a wrong approach, right? So first thing, strategic approach in the sense you need to sort of understand your business in terms of who your customers are. Are they educated? Are they digital enough? So in India, although people are quite digital people, but it may not happen always or everywhere, or within India as well, everywhere, right? So a strategic approach is where you identify what your capabilities are, how your market is, and is your market ready for a certain AI adoption or AI solution? If not, what should be a way to make your market get ready for that, right? So a generic example or experience, if I have to share, I was consulting for a bank in KSA region, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the bank wanted to go digital. As they had a lot of money, they wanted to go digital in one shot. So they, the CXOs were more like on their toes that we have to go digital, and in 1 year we want to become an AI bank, right? Because that was the first. And if you have money, you want to buy the most expensive car, more like that. So but one of the challenge was, after doing a lot of analysis and developing some of the solution, so we observed that majority of their customers were not digital friendly. It's the scenario of around 4 to 5 years back, right? So digital industry, or you can say digital users, were starting to enter the world, right? So more like, you can say, non-digital users were at that time getting digital. So people were getting digitally literate, educated, so they were not ready to become digital, and AI cannot be adapted without digitalization, right? So we ended up suggesting or building a strategy for the bank where they should not go AI enabled first. They should drive on digitalization for 1 year, educate their users and bring them on digital platforms, convert majority of the business processes which are happening at the moment offline to simple rule-based digital processes, and then start phase wise rolling out or transforming those digital processes into AI processes. So the idea is that an AI organization would not be the one which today starts buying all the AI solution, integrating it in all the ways as possible. Rather, it would be one which identifies the need, creates the need, right? Identifies the problem and the relevant solution, make wise investments, and keep calculating returns on investment they are doing in AI or data related fields, right? Second thing is an organization which makes pervasive use of automation and AI within the business process. So it's not something that you always bring AI solutions which are visible to your customers and you get more stock prices, right? So that's also one of the strategy. A lot of organizations wants to get a lot of improve their stock prices in the market, and for that they kind of keep marketing that we are becoming more of an AI company. Well, besides that, it's also about, within the business, how are you keeping efforts to reduce your internal business process cost? For example, the cost of documentation, the cost of data preparation, the cost of marketing strategy development, the cost of human management, HR management. How are you, as an organization, transforming those processes to AI-enabled processes, just to reduce the time of execution, reduce the cost of execution, the human hour involved into the business process. And the other thing which makes a company AI company is that, are you collecting enough data and you're making use of it? At times there's a lot of opportunity that your business can have good amount of data, qualitative data, and can transform a lot of businesses, or you can say improve the growth to from 1x to 5x level or to 10x level as well. And the other last thing which makes an AI company an AI company is where they drive their decisions on data and hire stakeholders, or have stakeholders who are more proactive towards identifying right opportunities to implement AI solutions, keep integrating AI solutions within the digital channels and business processes. So this is what a little bit idea in terms of what makes a company as an AI company or AI organization. So what are prerequisites, right? So if you are a company owner, or if you hold a responsibility to make your organization in AI enabled, or if you are looking to start with your AI journey, what are the things that you should be prepared with, or you should be first ready with? So the very first thing that you need is you need to be first a digital company, wherein you need to transform many of the business processes or key business processes at least into digital way. Digital in the sense you adapt apps, you adapt web applications, ERPs, CRMs, mobile applications, integrate multiple systems, reduce the time of execution of process, reduce the human hours in repetitive tasks, right? So adaptation of software, that's one prerequisite. Second, with those software or those digital channels or those digital platforms, integrate data strategy, a right data strategy, a wise and vision oriented data strategy, right? At times we have observed, for example, if I have to share an example, we were it was around 2018. We were consulting for me and my team was consulting for a company in Malaysia. So it was a petroleum company, and so like the way we have Indian oil and Bharat, like those Bharat gas in India, quite a similar way we are having a petroleum company in Malaysia. And the thing that they wanted to do is it's like in Kuala Lumpur there are a lot of petrol bunks that they were having, and at times it would happen that at a petrol bunk, petrol is like the fuel is finished, right? So the customers come and they go to different petrol pump, right? And in some cases, at some other petrol pumps, you can say the tankers are reaching, but the petrol bunk doesn't need the petrol or fuel on that day, so they haven't been able to make good sales. So they wanted to do optimized scheduling and optimized supply chain management, which is again data driven, which was at that time a very needful and useful and good investment. So on all those fronts, they were pretty good, and this was the right investments they could make, the most important investments they could make. It could help them reduce thousands and thousands of dollars in 1 year. I think we were calculating the estimated cost was around they will be able to save around $300,000 to $400,000 in a year if they could implement optimized data driven supply chain management solution. But one of the challenge was that they were not having enough data. We were asked to consume only the point of sale data in the sense only data of when you purchase petrol, you sort of swipe the credit cards, and that's how you they get to know that you have purchased it. So point of sale data and supply data was the only thing that we were asked to consume, and that was the only available data. But we tried out developing a solution which worked good for a few months, but then it started going bad. So there were a lot of external factors such as festivals, such as external events, sports events, exhibitions in Kuala Lumpur, which were impacting quite a lot, and changing the seasonality of the system. And that way our solution was not effective at all, right? So it was kind of getting disturbed or biased in those situations. So one of the challenge was that, the data was not good. The data was not having enough information about what all external factors can affect the sales of petrol or sales of fuel on those petrol bunks, right? So that was one of the challenge. So we ended up designing a good data strategy. With each actions, we created some data strategy approach. We designed some loyalty programs for customers who buy regular petrol from there, and with the loyalty programs we were able to track what is the persona of the user, when, why, and for what purpose, maybe how frequently they are buying the petrol from the petrol pump, which other petrol pumps they reach in their locality, where they live, where they don't, where they travel from, where their work is, where their office is. We are able to get every information by their activities and how frequently and when and what time, which direction they go, and when they get petrol fueled. So those were things that we were able to get more insights into, and we were able to develop then a robust solution a year after that. So it's important to have a right data strategy with the digital solution. The third thing is that you need to align your business goals in terms of what you want to achieve. So you, as a business, you may have a goal that we want to double down or double up on our growth rate. Possibly we want to make geographical expansion. We want to do technology transformation. So whatever a business vision or goal could be, align your data strategy to that, and digital channels to that. And these are all preparations to start your AI journey, right? Now, once you're ready with these preparations, you need to also have good AI goals. So with the third step, you may ask a question: how do I know that how do I decide my AI goal as an organization? Well, the answer would be that you may want to sort of list out the most important business problems that your business faces. So we're making heavy losses in employee churn, possibly making heavy losses when employees leave, or when our supply is delayed, or when the product feedback is bad, the customer is unhappy, the client is unhappy, and they don't place recurrent orders, right? So most biggest problems industry that you're facing within your business, list down what AI can do without, so these lists should be prepared with two different teams. So what all AI can do, right? What have we heard of? Read papers, news, blogs, white papers, right? And get an idea of what all AI can do related to your business. Whatever is the overlap is what you want to actually what you want to actually implement, or these are your right AI goals or that you would want to start with. So these are the most promising AI and analytics solutions that you want to develop. Analyze the technical and financial feasibility of these solutions, and then you can get started aligning those with your growth strategy. Right. So that's one idea. And so I'm going to be a little quick as I have a bit of less time here. So how to start, right? So level one could be you would want to start building an analytics culture where, you would want to start making your stakeholders start using analytics, start collecting more options for each thing, analyze best option. So analytics culture, in the sense, everything that you do, start making comparisons, start collecting information, start collecting data, start storing data in Excel. So even building an analytics culture could start from Excel analytics itself, or build reporting practices within the business. Level two would be the point where you would start pilot project. So as a business, you would want to buy some external pilot project rather than building it. Educate your stakeholders about how AI and analytics work, how they can start with integrating analytics and AI within their day-to-day stuff. Let your stakeholders trust analytics and AI solutions once they start using it. After level three would be the right time when you start making investments, right? So level three would be the time when you start making investment in infrastructure, tools, training, internal stakeholders, identifying the right AI goals, and in aligning your strategy to those goals. And level four will be where you start developing and buying solutions. So everything should not be built, everything should not be bought, right? So there are always do's and don'ts with buying and building AI solutions within the business. Roll out important projects within the business, integrate those projects and solutions with your digital channels, business processes, and that's how you sort of can reach to the level of becoming an AI company. Right. So this could be, your four step strategy in terms of how do you become an analytics and AI company. Right. So that's one idea. Next, I have a little to talk about. I'll take another 5 minutes just to wind up on this part, is to talk about how is the journey of an enterprise with analytics, right? So in general, any analytics business starts with the descriptive analytics, where, it can be more like you can start building dashboards. At this stage, this is one of the earliest stage where, just give me a moment. I'm sorry, right? So descriptive analytics would be the first step where a business would want to start, right? So the very first stage where a business would want to know that, what's happening in the business. So let's say as an e-commerce business, I would want to know that how much of sales I have made in South India, East India, West India, and North India, right? Or maybe I would want to know how much of sales I have made or profit I have made in apparels, furniture, electronics, or home appliances. So data visualization or statistics can help answering these questions. Usually we build dashboards at this level. And this is the first stage where a business starts consuming, data. They start trusting data, I would say. And this is how, the analytics and AI culture start flourishing within the business. And the tools can be used, at this stage could be Power BI, Grafana, Tableau, or Excel. The second stage, once the businesses start consuming dashboards regularly, the second stage would be where they perform root cause analytics, right? So let's say while analyzing sales data or profit data, as a business owner, I may get to know that my profits are going down. So I would want to know that why it happened, why my profits are going down. So you would want to see some strategic understanding of what has happened in the business, which has let the profit go down. So you would want to see why it happened in the past, right? With the help of tool like Python and R, you can perform statistical analysis to get that done. The third stage where business starts consuming AI. So the first two stages are more of analytics space stages. You can say the third stage is where they start integrating AI within the business. So it could be, predictive modeling, where a business would want to know the future. What's going to happen tomorrow? How much of sales I'm going to be able to make? How much of profit am I going to be able to generate? How many how many customers will I be able to acquire next 6 months, right? And the fourth stage, where mature AI companies have already reached, that is prescriptive analysis, where the machine learning or AI solutions can answer you stuff like, how do we go about doing something? So how do I acquire more customers? Where AI solution can help you doing marketing, like recommendation engines could be one simple example of prescriptive analytics, right? So AI engines can start recommending your customers which credit cards to purchase, which products to purchase, which movies to watch on Netflix, or which videos to see on YouTube. Those are examples of prescriptions or recommendations. So this could be thought of as more of a generic analytics life cycle for an enterprise from beginning to end, how it goes from stage to stage. So that is it. Now, if you're from somebody who is learning AI in analytics, well, you can start with a stage where if you are building on your own, or if you want to learn AI or analytics, you can start with learning statistics a bit, and start getting and get to work with data, and then learn few of the tools such as Power BI, Excel, Tableau, Python, right? And then learn machine learning. So this could be a possible learning journey that you can kind of go through to get on the idea on learning AI. So I was a little quick at these last few slides, but yep, just to match up the time, I have limited. So yep, that was it, everyone. This was a little idea around, what AI is, and what how as a business you sort of start using analytics or AI in business.
Yeah, thank you, Anshu. That was a good presentation, and you have laid quite a good roadmap for organizations who wish to implement analytics and AI integrated together for the betterment of their organizational processes as well as the customer-facing processes. So definitely, I'm sure that people would like to know more in depth of all these things. So later at some time, we will schedule a separate workshop, or maybe talk where more things can be detailed and people can benefit more. So that is it. And as I see right now, there are no questions in the chat that has been pushed to you. So I think we can close this session over here. So if there is anything that you would need to sum up, you have a couple of minutes, and after that I will be putting my closing remark and thanking you.
Thank you, Tejas. Thank you very much for that. So right, when any questions if we have, we can kind of have a discussion on. Otherwise, I'm good with it, right?
Okay, sure. So if there are questions, Chetan, I think if you have question, you may ask. Otherwise, please unmute yourself so that I can continue. Okay, so I don't think there are any questions, but if there are any questions, feel free to shoot it to hello@aic-surati-ilab.org, and we will forward it to Anshu, and then whatever Anshu replies, we will get it back to you. And you feel also free to directly connect with Anshu, because we have provided the connection details of Anshu on the Sessionize page. So thank you to the attendees once again for spending your time over here in the morning of Tuesday. And I would also like to thank you, Anshu, for the time you spent and the efforts you have put to create such a wonderful presentation that allows people to see the roadmap for their organizations to implement the AI and analytics together. So thanks, and we will be connecting together in near future to discuss furthermore alliance between AIC SURATi iLab and yourself. Thank you once again. Bye for now and have a nice day.
Thank you, Tejas.